Hi everyone. I wanted to kind of go through a quick lesson on how to utilize Desmos when you're simplifying expressions. I know this is your first unit and you should have been done probably last week, but I wanted to kind of go over this, and if you want to retest or anything, you're welcome to do so. Um, I have finally gotten all my technical issues out, so I will be continuing to do videos for you guys, but I also am going to be doing live lessons finally. So anyways, I really appreciate your patience. I do apologize for all the trouble. So here, I wanted to show you like some cues with some helpful hints with Desmos, because Desmos is the graphing calculator that you will use on your SOL. And if you have not passed your SOL yet, it's definitely something that you're going to want to utilize. So this is for use, and the more you use it, the more questions you're going to get right, and it's just going to help you prevent you from making any of those silly mistakes. So I'm trying to find the cube root of 125, and if you notice right here, I have the square root, absolute value, and squared, and anything to a power. But if I wanted to do the cube root, I could do this, and I press miscellaneous, and I have the nth root right here. So what I do is I write down the root that I need, and that's cubed, and then I put 125 right here. And as you can see, that is 5. So what's really nice is that gets, you can put that on really easily, and you don't have to do anything else with it. So I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this and put it over in here. Okay. All right. So now let's go to the next one. So this is pretty easy. What about if you had something like this? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. And as you can see, I could do, what I would do first is a fraction, and I would just really just enter this whole thing exactly how I see it. So in order to do a fraction, I just press my divide sign. So I start entering the numerator, and that's 72. That's going to be divided by, and in parentheses, I'm going to put the square root of 100. Now to get out of the square root, I just press my side arrow key right here, and then I do minus 4, and I want to square it, and then I press my close parentheses. Okay, now that's the numerator. Now in the denominator, I'm going to put the cube root of 27. So again, I'm going to go to my function key, and I look for my nth root, and I'm going to put a 3 in there, and 27. Oops, this is really nice when I these. Okay, sorry, you want to go right in here and put a 27. Sorry about that. Okay, now you see how nice that is? It turns it into a -4, and that works really nicely. Again, I'm going to take another screenshot of this and put it in here so you guys can see what it's going to look like on Desmos, and I'll send you a PDF of this as well. I just really think it's useful. I want you guys to play around with Desmos, and there's an app that you can put on your phone, and I strongly suggest that you guys do that so you can play around with it and use it. And it's also great for graphing, as we'll see as we go further on. Okay, so find the value of the expression below when x is equal to -4 and y is equal to 2. Well, I can do substitution, but I can't use x and y in here. That's the only limitation. So what I'm going to do is now, instead of it being x and y, I'm going to use a and b. So what I first need to do is tell Desmos what values I want for a and b. So I'm going to say a is equal to -4, okay? And then b is equal to 2. Okay, so I've now given Desmos values for these, so now I have to remember when I enter this in, I have to use A for X and B for Y. Okay, so just be really careful of that. So again, you can't use A and B, X and Y. You have to use any other letter except for X and Y. It's really not that hard to do once you get the hang of it. The reason why is because it automatically thinks you're graphing something. So that's why you don't want to do that. So I've got -3, and I'm going to have, now it's instead of X, it's A, and I square it times B. So there's a little bit of clicking back and forth, but really not that big of a deal. And then +4 times A again. And see, I have that right here, this beautiful thing. I've already done that. So again, I'm going to take a screenshot of that so you guys can see how I did that. But isn't that awesome? You really did no computation whatsoever, and you would get the right answer. So that's a big deal, especially if you guys are taking tests and quizzes in this area, because I know there's lots of room for error in here, and I really want to make sure you guys are comfortable with this. This gets rid of a lot of the errors. You guys know the order of operations and things like that, and a lot of times a lot of the errors are just from little tiny mistakes. And when you use Desmos, it prevents you from making those mistakes. So it's really nice. Okay, so let's move on. So here's another one. Go ahead and pause the video if you want to and see if you can try to do this yourself. Okay? Okay, so what I would do is I just clear this out, and I want to do a division sign, right? So first thing I'm going to have is this fraction. So I have 5 to the third. Now I have 5 squared, but that's not what I want. I want to the third. So I'm going to use A to the B, and then instead of, so I'm going to go ahead and put 3 right there. All right. Then I arrow over to get out of that exponent, much like you would with a calculator, and I subtract 42 divided by 6. All right, and then at the bottom, I'm going to do the cube root. So I'm going to press my function key and nth root. And so right where n is, that's a 3, and I'm going to put 8. Okay, now I'm not saying that you guys can't do this yourselves, but again, this really does get rid of a lot of those little tiny mistakes. It also saves time. So if you want to go ahead and redo a quiz or test, and you don't want to take a ton of time with it, Desmos is really helpful. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so again, what's nice about this is that we have A, B, and C here. So A is 1, B is -20, and C is equal to -5. So I go to my keyboard and I say A has to equal 1. B is equal to 20. I'm going to double check. B is equal to -20 and C is equal to -5. So B is equal to -20 and C is equal to -5. Okay, so now I've defined what these variables are, and now I just have to enter in this expression. So I'm going to put a division sign, and in that division sign I'm going to do the square root, and it's going to be B times C. So I have to put B times C, and then on the bottom, parentheses, and I just enter this exactly how I see it. I don't want to make any changes because I prevent myself from making any errors when I do that, because it's very likely, it's easy to do, especially when you're working with so many numbers. And then I'm going to do plus, and I put this little guy here, and as you can see, that's 0.625. Now, that will probably show as a decimal or a fraction. So one thing you might want to do is put this decimal into your calculator and do math enter enter, and that will give you a fraction. Okay. So that goes right there. So anyway, so hopefully these are starting to make some sense to you. Again, it's very easy, user-friendly. It doesn't take hardly any time. If an old girl like I can figure this out, I know you can too. So, all right, now we've got M, N, and K. I can use these letters, so let's use them. So K is -2, so let's go ahead and cancel these out. So then I go into my thing and I have K is equal to -2. And then the next one I have is M is equal to -7. And see how nice this is? When we're dealing with so many negatives, there's so much room for error. So that's another reason why I do this all the time. I even use this with some of my calculus students when I'm working on calculus or pre-calc with them. Okay, so I've now defined my variables. Now I have to enter this cute little thing right here. So what's nice is I have the absolute value sign, and that sign is right here. So I have 2, and then I have absolute value. And what's nice is that it automatically enters it for you. So it's M, and then minus N squared, right? And I just press that again to end that. And then I do plus, and I do K, and I'm going to do to the 3rd power. Okay, and what do you know? That's 38. So that's, again, huge, huge, huge helpful thing. And if you didn't do very well on your expressions test, like I said, please, please, please ask me to reset it for you and you can retake it, because there's no reason why any of these problems should be wrong when you have this tool right here. Okay? All right, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, this one's another one. And again, I just click these out. It's easier than a calculator for a lot of things. So this is 2 to the 3rd. So I do to the 3rd. Okay, arrow over, and I'm going to do times 9 minus 2 in parentheses, 9 minus 2 in parentheses, right, plus 12 divided by 4, okay? Now, to get out of this, I want to arrow over again, right? And minus, and I do the absolute value of -5. Absolute value again, and what do you know? There you go. How beautiful is that, right? So, anyways, hopefully this is making some ease, and like I really want you guys to try these. What I would suggest you do if you want to is go ahead and watch this video again, and before I go over it, you can even just have your phone out and try to do this on your phone if you download the Desmos app. Okay, so let's try another one. So we have, now the one thing, I don't do brackets, I just do parentheses. So that's one thing. So I'm going to do 8 minus, and I'm going to do parentheses 12 divided by, and I'm going to do parentheses again, the square root of 400 sorry guys, minus 2 to the 5th, and I'm going to close this door. Oops. Sorry. And then arrow over, close this door, and then arrow over again. Do you see how I did that? And that just reinforces that. And then I do plus 11. And then we get 20. All right. So again, really want you guys to practice doing these. It just takes a little bit of time. It's not too hard. The link on to Desmos is on the website, so definitely want you guys to get some practice on it. See if I have any more. Okay. Okay, so now we have X, W, and Y. So remember, I'm going to change these to A, B, and C just to make life easier for me. So, let me move this over. So, so I'm going to do A is equal to -3. B is equal to -2. And C is equal to 1. Okay. X, W, Y. All right. So every time I see X, it's A. Every time I see W, it's B. And every time I see Y, it's C. Okay? So X, W is B. So this is going to be B squared minus 5 times X, which is our A, and C. Sorry. There we go. Oops. And there it is. It's 19. Okay? So once again, really want you guys to try some of these on your own. Okay? And make sure that you guys are comfortable using Desmos. I want this to be your primary source of graphing because it really is just a huge tool for you. Okay? So that's the quick video on using Desmos and simplifying expressions. I hope this is helpful to you. Please, please, please make sure you watch this video. I will make a PDF of this and send it out to you as well. Thanks a lot, guys.